Good morning, everyone. We are Group 11 and we will be discussing the decision making, understanding it, group decision making, and developing personal skills. So, our agenda for this morning is the definitions of decision making, concepts of decision making, kinds of decision making, types of business decisions, the do's and don'ts of decision making, quality of decision making, constraints of the decision making, steps into decision making, approaches to decision making, and the decision making process. Decision making. What is decision making? Decision making can be defined as the process of selecting a right and effective course of action from two or more alternatives for the purpose of achieving a desired result. Decision making is a vital part of a business organization and management. Decision making and risk taking happens to all levels of organizational hierarchy. The top management levels may make grand strategic decisions about investment and the direction of future growth of the whole company, while the middle and lower management level make more tactical decisions about how their own department, section, unit may contribute most effectively to all over objectives and goals of the firm. Concepts of decision making. We have information, alternatives, criteria, goals, value, preferences, decision quality, and acceptance. For information, only the needed information must be obtained. Kasi if too much of information, it can actually reduce the quality of decision. So for alternatives, these are the probabilities or has to select from. Alternatives can be identified or even developed. Criteria. The alternatives are evaluated on how well they possess each criterion. So for goals, a component of goal identification should be determined in every instance of decision analysis, like what is what you to accomplish, which should I choose, what should I do, what are my goals. These questions should be clarified in goal settings. Value. This refers to how desirable a particular outcome is. Preferences. These reflect the philosophy and integrity of the decision maker. Like some people prefer excitement to calmness, certainty to risk, efficiency to aesthetics, quality to quantity, and so on. It all depends upon the decision maker. Decision quality. This is an evaluation of whether or not a decision is good or bad. A good decision is a logical one based on the available information and reflecting the preferences of the decision maker. Acceptance. This is a vital factor because it occasionally runs contrary with one of the quality criteria. In such cases, the best thing to do may be to select a lesser quality decision that has a greater acceptance. Kinds of decision making. There are three kinds of decisions according to Robert Harris. Number one is decisions whether, decisions which, and contingent decisions. For decisions whether, this is the yes, no, either, or decision that must be made before we proceed with the selection of an alternative. Decisions which. These decisions involve a choice of one or more alternatives from among a set of possibilities. The choice being based on how well each alternative measure up to a set of predefined criteria. Contingent decisions. These are decisions that have been made but put on hold until some conditions are met. Types of business decisions. There are 5 types of business decisions according to Richard Bowen: program decisions, non-program decisions, strategic decisions, tactical decisions, and operational decisions. For program decisions, these are standard decisions which always follow the same routine. For non-program decisions, these are non-standard and non-routine. Each decision is not quite the same as any previous decision. For strategic decisions, these affect the long-term direction of the business firm. Strategic decisions are one of the highest level. Tactical decisions. These are medium-term decisions about how to implement strategy. Operational decisions. These are short-term decisions about how to implement tactics.
Do's and don'ts of decision making. Be honest in identifying problems, setting goals and priorities, evaluating information. Accept the responsibility for making decisions in your life and on the job. Taking responsibility for decisions in your life and at work means acknowledging that you have the power and authority to make choices that impact your situation. It involves being accountable for the outcomes, whether they turn out well or not. In personal life, this might mean owning up to choices about your relationships, finances, or personal development. At work, it involves making decisions that affect projects, teams, or the organization. Use time wisely when you make decisions. Take as much time as possible without creating more problems. An example of this is when a company needs to fill a key managerial role. Taking too little time to make a decision might result in hiring someone who is not the right fit for the position, causing potential disruptions to the team or even leading to a higher turnover rate. On the other hand, if the company takes too much time, it might lead to delays in critical projects, increased workload on the existing team members, or even losing out on strong candidates who accept the job offers. Number four, have confidence in your ability to make good decisions and learn from mistakes. So, from the word itself, all of us commit mistakes. So, for us to move forward, we just need to learn from it and try not to commit the same mistakes again. Don'ts of decision making. Have unrealistic expectations for yourself. You are bound to make wrong decisions sooner or later. Imagine a recruiter who sets unrealistic expectations for themselves to fill a certain number of positions within an incredibly short time frame, far beyond what's realistically achievable. Number two, make snap decisions unless absolutely necessary. Follow the process to a good decision. It's important to follow a process that allows your thoughtful evaluation and consideration of candidates. Number three, take a necessary action when the best course of action is to do nothing. Number four, fool yourself by choosing solutions that are easy and comfortable but fails to address the problem. Let's say a company consistently faces challenges with employee retention. Instead of conducting an in depth analysis of the organizational culture, job satisfaction, or management practices contributing to the turnover, they opt for a quick fix, increasing salary across the board. While a salary raise might temporarily appease some employees, it doesn't address the underlying issues causing dissatisfaction of driving turnover. Here's why it could be a mistaken easy solution. Failure to address root causes. The turnover might be due to issues like poor leadership, lack of career development, or a toxic work environment. The salary increase doesn't solve these problems. This is a band aid solution. Offering higher salaries might provide short term relief, but discontent stemming from deeper issues persists. Employees might leave despite the pay raise if the fundamental problems aren't resolved. Quality of decision making. Good decision making comes from the following: 1. Continuous training and development of managers and decision making skills. Complete good information about the problems and alternatives. Management skills in analyzing information and handling its shortcomings. Experience and natural ability in decision making. Risk and attitudes to risk. 6. Human factors. Two kinds of constraints in decision making. Internal constraints. First, availability of funds and resources. Example, imagine a small tech startup that has identified the need to upgrade its IT infrastructure to enhance operational efficiency and security. The leadership team acknowledges the importance of this upgrade, but they are constrained by a limited budget and resource availability. Number two, existing policy. For example, computer shop. The company has noticed a shift in customer behavior, indicating that there's a growing demand for extended operating hours. However, the existing policy limits the working hours, and there's resistance to changing this policy due to its long standing nature and adherence to standard practices in the industry. The leadership team faces a decision on whether to adjust the existing policy to accommodate the changing customer demands. Number three, people's abilities and feelings. Example of this is imagine a team within an organization tasked with implementing a new software system to streamline operations. However, the team members have varying levels of technological expertise and different feelings about the change. Next is the external constraints. Constitutional mandate, laws, rules, and regulations. During the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines, there were efforts to address the issue of contractualization or end of contract in the labor sector. ENDO refers to the practice of repeatedly hiring workers on short term contracts, preventing them from obtaining job security and benefits associated with regular employment. Number two, for external constraints, is competitors. Talent competition. Competitors in the industry are aggressively hiring skilled software developers, creating a talent shortage and increasing competition for qualified candidates. Competitors might offer more lucrative compensation packages, attractive perks, or better career advancement opportunities, making it challenging for the company to attract and retain top talent. Next is the lack of technology. Consider a medium-sized company that still relies on outdated manual HR processes. They lack a centralized human resources information system or HRIS or modern technology tools for recruitment, employee management, performance evaluations, and payroll processing. So it is a constraint because of the inefficient processes and limited data insights. Next is the economic climate or condition. Consider a manufacturing company facing an economic downturn characterized by decreased consumer demand and market uncertainty. The company is experiencing financial strain, resulting in budget constraints and cost cutting measures across departments. So the constraints are budget constraints and of course hiring freeze or layoffs. Legislations. One scenario is imagine a company operating in a country that recently introduced new labor laws mandating increased parental leave for employees. The legislation requires extending parental leave from the previous 3 months to 6 months. So it's a new legal requirement. The legislation stipulates an extension of parental leave, significantly increasing the duration for which employees can take paid time off after the birth or adoption of a child. Impact on operations. The extended parental leave could potentially disrupt workforce planning, project deadlines, and team structures due to longer employees' absences. Next constraint is lack of supplies, material, and manpower. Imagine a company that relies heavily on training materials, software, and other resources for employee development and skill enhancement. Due to a supplier issue, there's a shortage of essential training materials needed for employee training programs. Next is lack of manpower. One example of this is imagine a retail company experiencing a sudden surge in customer demand due to seasonal sales, but they are short staffed due to unforeseen circumstances like a high number of employee resignations or unexpected leave. Shortage of staff, the company faces a shortage of employees to handle increased customer footfall and workload, leading to longer queues, reduced customer service quality, and potential dissatisfaction among customers. Impact on operations. The lack of manpower affects various operational aspects, including stocking shelves, managing customer inquiries, cashier services, and overall service delivery. Steps in decision making. Step 1. Define the problem. Size up the situation. Examine the problem thoroughly by looking at it from all angles. Keep thinking. And don't be satisfied with quick and easy answers. Avoid committing mistakes in merely identifying the problem symptoms without properly identifying the real problem. Set goals and priorities. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve by making this decision? What are my goals? Which of these goals must I meet in order to solve this problem? What are my priorities? Be able to write down your goals and priorities and try to review them from time to time. Try to put your goals in simple, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound pieces. Step 2. Reevaluate the situation. Consider your options. The moment the problem has been identified, ask yourself, do I need to take action in order to achieve my goals and priorities? Will this problem solve itself with time? Don't make unnecessary decisions. Be aware that best decision may be to do nothing at the moment. But don't delay just to avoid making a tough or unpleasant decision. Step 3. Gathering information in order to solve the problem. You should make yourself an expert on the subject. Seek advice. Secure help from other people whom you think can help you. Don't be shy to admit that you don't know the problem. Use all resources. Use the library, 201 files of employees, or any source of facts on the problem. Step 4. Think of alternatives. At this stage of the decision-making process, any idea is a good idea. Be open. Don't limit yourself to ideas that sound reasonable. Try brainstorming, listing anything and everything that comes to mind. Don't judge. Avoid jumping to conclusions. Gather all ideas before considering your alternatives. Record your ideas. Put all your thoughts on paper so you can evaluate them later on. Step 5. Choose an alternative. Test each alternative carefully to see how it measures up against the others. Think ahead. Try to imagine the consequences of each alternative. Ask yourself, what will happen if? Be thorough and give each plan a chance. Be practical. Be sure your plan can be carried out. Ask yourself, does my organization have the resources to make the changes I have in mind? Is the solution more expensive than the problem? And be creative. If necessary, you can combine the best features of several ideas. Then come out with a new alternative, one that works. Select the best alternative or alternatives that will best attain the goals and priorities you identified in step 1. Step 6. Put your decision to work. Take action. A good decision is nothing until it is put into effect. Inform others. Be sure that all personnel who will be affected by the decision are well informed. They must be assured that their interests and welfare will be respected. Ask for feedback. Follow up your plan. Be sure to check from time to time to see that any changes you made are still in effect or to see if adjustments are needed. Finally, be sure that the problem you solve hasn't returned or taken another form.
Decision-making process. Recognize the problem, analyze the problem, consider your goals, look for alternatives, select the best alternative, put your decision into action, accept the responsibility, and evaluate your results. Decision making has two approaches. Number one is authoritarian method. It is the manager who makes decision based on the knowledge and information he has able to gather. He is responsible in explaining to the group their acceptance about his decision. In authoritarian method, managers are the one who gather informations. Typically, managers here are the one who make choices and decisions based on their knowledge and judgment that is also based on the informations and data that the manager gathers. And managers here rarely accept opinions or advices from their coworkers. It typically happens when the said project have deadline. Number two is group method. The members of the group share together their ideas and analyses and agree among themselves what decision to adopt and implement. Group method is different from authoritarian method because they share the ideas, opinions, and data as a group, unlike in authoritarian method that manager is the one to decide and to gather data and informations. Group decision making is a complex process that involves individuals gathering together to decide on a specific issue. It brings together diverse personalities, background, and perspective to ensure inclusive decision making that reflects the views of all members. Group decision making
is a group of individuals who gather together to share their knowledge on a specific issue or matter. They discuss what they will do as a group. Two types of decision-making session. Number one is free discussion, in which the problem is simply put on the table for the group to talk about. In free discussion, the said group are free to make decisions as they want or as they wish. Number two is developmental discussion. The problem is broken down into pieces and smaller parts with specific goals. Developmental discussion is by step with a specific goal, unlike free discussion, that they are free to make their own decision as they want. Developmental discussion ensures systematic coverage of a topic and ensures that all members of the group are talking about the same aspect of the problem at the same time. Developing personal decision-making skills. Number one, become aware of your own and your family's values, the condition which supports these values, and the choices which are available. Study situations carefully so you can recognize more clearly the cause and effect of the action. Decisions which create conflicts are hard to carry out. We should analyze the situation first before deciding and make a consideration. Considerate the people around you, like your family who values you, and carefully recognize the situation you are in. Number two, develop sensitivity to the individual responses of person affected by the decision. Personalities differ, and a good manager is aware of the kind and amount of impact on individual person as a consequence of a decision. Be a sensitive individual to the people who will be affected by the decision you are making. Number three, be objective in viewing the problem that demands decision. Try to avoid making decisions when you are upset, tired, or under great stress. Be objective and specific. Focus on solving the problem, not your emotions. Being rational is the option here. Avoid making decisions when you are upset, because we make decisions that we didn't think about when we are upset or tired. We decide based on our emotion, which is not good because it can lead us to a problem.